What up? What up? Welcome back to Schmoebates. We are here for the championship title match. It's been a long time coming. I know it's been a couple months. People have been asking about it, but you know how schedules are. It is what it is, but we're here now. And of course, who else could I have as my co host for this than the creator of this show, one of the long standing best people in this community and in the Action Army, Alex Mack. Welcome back to Schmoebates.
Hi. Hi. I'm pretty excited to be here. Uh, it's been a while since I've recorded, let alone done anything with Schmoebates, but I'm excited to come back to the show. This show was my baby for like good 2.5 years. And the only thing coming to bring me back, I was like, I gotta be back to see some of the best debaters Schmoedown and Schmoedown fandom has to offer. So I told Jake, I was like, I don't care who you have as your guest host or whatever, but I got to be there for that championship. I got to see the best of the best. Wait,
Most definitely. I mean, who else would it? It wasn't going to be Paul or anybody like
right?
that. Of course, it was going to be you.
Definitely not.
Yeah. So it has been a while. You ready for this?
Emotionally, physically, psychologically, can you elaborate on that? Or
All of the above.
yes and no, but we'll find out.
All right. So what do you think about this matchup we got coming up here? I'm not
Again,
asking you to pick any favorites or anything. You are a judge. You have to be impartial. You know how this shit
yes,
works.
it is very difficult to be impartial going into these things, but as the guest judge, I am up to the task. But again, like I said, these are two of some of the best debaters Schmoedown has to offer. Mara obviously has a very extensive history in debating, with Schmoedown, without Schmoedown, and Bateman, he's been around with Schmoedown what feels like forever. He knows the ins and outs of every season, every match, every competitor. So who best to go up against one of the best debaters Schmoedown has to offer? So
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that said, I think it's time to bring them on, don't you?
let's stop putting it off. Let's do it.
All right. First up, the winner of our Schmoebates 2021 tournament went through a gauntlet to get here. Nobody better deserving to be here than the amazing Mara Knopic.
2021 feels like it was like 3 days ago, but also a long time ago.
10 years ago or 2 days ago. It's one or the other.
Time is a construct. How you feeling?
It is a construct. I'm excellent. I'm so excited. It's always interesting just to try to play the best, see how you'll fare. And next time you do this, I really want to see if I can get Dan involved if he's free, because he's hardly ever free, because he's another really experienced debater that I'd love to see go up against somebody like Ben.
Or what about go up against someone like you? I know you'd have
Hey,
a hard time with that.
you don't want to be presumptive and assume you'll win. So maybe he can work his way up to whoever's champion, because he'd have to earn it too. He can't just stroll in.
Well, it's gonna be either you or Ben.
Shannon versus Mike Kalinowski. That was a fun debate.
Yeah, it was.
Well, hey, you never know. You might actually have free time in 2022. No promises.
Yeah, who knows anything anymore? All right, well then let's go ahead and bring in our reigning champion. I already see him in the back, and I don't want to click add to stream. But he is the boss, Ben Bateman.
It's good to be back! Hello, everybody. How are you? Hello, Mara. Nice to see you.
Hi, Ben. I miss you.
I miss you, too. But not as much as you're going to miss having a chance to win this belt. I'm excited to be here. It's been a long reign that I've had this thing. I've moved with it. It's been keeping me company a long time. It's nice to see you back, Alex. It's been a long time. Jake, always a pleasure. And look, pleasantries aside, this is about winning and losing. So I say we get to it. Thank you, everybody, for showing up in the stream to watch me defend my title. And, I know we've all been looking forward to this for a long time.
Ben, something I'm a little curious about is that
Yes.
you are comfortable debating, obviously. You are, whether it be on backstage or talking with Andrew Ghai, arguing about movies on your podcast, which I love and adore in every single way, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. But you haven't debated officially against an experienced debater in a very long time because
You're not wrong.
Again. With that being said, do you have any strategy going into this?
Usually what I like to focus on is winning.
Really?
Yes. It feels like the best approach. I like to win points against my opponent and walk away with the belt. If I can focus on those things, I feel like I'll leave today pretty satisfied. If that makes sense. I don't know in the chat if you guys were able to keep up with that, but that's where my head's at.
That was like the worst copy edit ever for a speech. I can be biased. I don't get a vote. I can say what I want. I have a history with this person.
But I do.
Well, why don't you show that belt to the screen there, Bateman? Let us see what we're working with here. I believe it was Alex who actually mailed it to you, wasn't it?
I did, yes. The winner of the official Schmoebates first tournament we had, there were quite a few really fantastic competitors involved, including Chandru Dhanapani, as well as John Roca, Bibbs, William Bibiani, Bateman, obviously, as well as quite a few other people. So, yeah, I mean, it was definitely no easy feat to earn that belt, which you rightfully did. But again, that was quite a bit of time ago.
It was a long time ago. Yeah, I've had a lot of time to get used to having this around, to polish it, watch it get rusty, and then polish it again. That's how long I've had this belt, Mara. You understand what it's like to have something of this magnitude for this long?
I know what it's like to have belts twice.
Touche, Mara. Touche.
That might be the meanest thing I've ever said.
That was the snappiest of snaps, Mara. I'm here for it.
I love it.
I need some more comebacks from you, ASAP.
We're in phase 2. Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah,
strong enough to take it. That's all.
Speaking of all the competitors that have been here, both of you in your respective tournaments beat Bibiani in the final. So that's a nice little fun fact here. But Alex, if you want to let us know how we got to this point and why Mara is here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see from the champion tournament in front of you, we had quite a few of very fantastic competitors that are no stranger to debating, that are also no stranger to just yelling the fuck at you when they feel like they're right, which we're all familiar with. Let's be honest, being part of the Action Army. So some of the competitors that we had was not only Mark Knopic, who's going to be playing here tonight, but we had John Kaiser, the manager behind The Dungeon, Adam Witt, another Dungeon competitor, William Bibiani, Video Drew, Chance Ellison, Chandru Dhanapani, as well as Robert Adams of the Cinefanatics. Now, Mara Knopic, in order to get here today, she had to defeat John Kaiser in her first match. Then William Bibiani defeated William Bibiani to go to the finals. And last but not least, defeat Chandru Dhanapani, who defeated Robert Adams as well as Video Drew. So definitely no easy feat there. She had quite a trek to get to this point. And all those competitors are not only very confident competitors as in Schmoedown, but as debaters, they know the ins and outs of this whole thing. What the fuck? It's hard work getting to this point, is what I'm trying to say. So both Ben and Mara, obviously, it's going to be a tough match.
Yeah, I'm glad I get to play you, Mara. After beating Bibbs, it would have been a real shame to have to beat him a second time. And at the end of this thing, you may as well just call this the Schmoe-Bateman belt. So I think let's get straight to it.
Yeah, with that,
acceptable.
In order to get
how did I not come up with that until 2.5 years later? How did it take me 2.5 years?
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go into the rules.
It doesn't matter when
now.
genius strikes, just that it strikes.
All right, so for the people who don't know, 3 questions will be debated. The winner will be determined by my wonderful guest co-host Alex and our ghost judge. If there is a tie, then the audience vote will serve as the tiebreaker. I will be putting those polls on our Twitter page, and I will let you know in the chat. And our round format. Each round will have a 60-second opening statement uninterrupted from each competitor, followed by a 4-minute open debate where they can just go back and forth, and then finally a 60-second closing statement uninterrupted from each one. The final round order will be determined by me flipping the action coin. You must win at least 2 rounds to be declared the winner, obviously, and each competitor has 1 30-second uninterrupted time extension to be used at any time, whether you want to extend the opening statement, you want to hit a pause in the open debate or the closing statement. Anytime before I start the next round, you are allowed to use your 30 seconds. So, with that said, there's too much shit to click here. Alex, let's go ahead and get into this. First off, are there any questions?
I could ask a joke question, but I won't this time.
Oh, please. So, Ben, as the reigning champion, to see who goes first in round 1, I will flip this coin. Would you like Team Ghai or Team Trader?
I'd like the one with my face on it, Jake.
Gotcha.
The punchable side. I get it.
Unfortunately, it's your better half. So,
Agreed.
Mara, would you like to go first or second in round 1?
I would like to go second, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Down.
Hey, buddy.
All right, Alex, if you would do us the honor of reading our first question.
Question number 1. With Sam Levine's retirement announcement, which retired personality would be the best new manager? A lot of options. You have 30 seconds on the clock.
60.
Are you ready? Oh, sorry.
60.
There you go. 60 seconds on the clock. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Starting now.
So when thinking about the best person to come in and fill these shoes, what you have to think about is somebody who is going to fill the role needed by the Schmoedown today, now, going forward. And we are a full-scale production now. We're a show that requires committed performers, individuals that know what they're doing and take their jobs very seriously. For this reason, I've decided to pick the classy one, Clark Wolf. Former champion, of course, 2-time champion as part of the Shire Wolves. She's played in multiple championship matches, knows exactly what she's doing, and her attention to detail is perfect. Most importantly, Clark is a working actress. She's a performer, and she will take this job as seriously as it needs to be taken. Again, I mentioned attention to detail. One of the early members of one of the earliest factions of all time in the Fife Club, a faction that, by the way, I lost in a huge moment to in a live event. I've lost to Clark Wolf multiple times, and I know the kind of preparation that she puts in. She brings a lot of experience to the table and exactly the right kind of balance. Clark Wolf is the perfect choice.
And time. Clark Wolf. All right. Okay. All right.
Okay, and Mara, whenever Alex is ready.
Okay. 1 minute on clock. Are you ready, Mara?
Ready.
And go.
I'm going to cut straight to the point. I think that John Roca is absolutely the best person to transition from being a player to being a manager. It helps that he just retired, that he is fresh. This league has changed. This league has changed so much, even in just one season, but let alone several seasons. So I think that he could make the easiest transition to mentoring the people on his faction. And I'm not saying Clark would be unable. I'm just saying it would be an easier transition for John. He's also, honestly, like the first and best character champion and multi-divisional champion and dedicated. I know that, for example, John Kaiser, my former manager, he learned so much Star Wars stuff. He was able to make a Boba Fett blaster challenge. I know that Roca has that level of dedication. He will learn the Star Wars things. He will learn the Inner Geekdom things. He is the most fully formed person that helped create the foundation of this league to help shape its future going forward. And Clark is not a bad choice, but John is the better choice.
And time. John Roca and Clark Wolf. These are
All
some great
right.
picks.
Ghost Judge, if you have anything you would like them to touch on, let us know in our Twitter chat. Give you just a second for that. Alex, do you have you got anything there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, thing is, these are actually two not only very interesting picks, obviously, but I would have to say these are two kind of different approaches to the manager title, both being actors, both being former champions, obviously, both competing in multiple divisions. But what makes these individual competitors that much more effective behind the scenes as a manager? So that's something I'm really excited to hear. Not only in front of the camera, obviously, but behind the scenes is just as necessary.
Yeah, I don't really have much on this yet. I'm going to keep my comments till after the open debate.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alex, if you could set that for 4 minutes. Oh, we do have something from the Ghost Judge. Does the fact that Clark has been away detriment her in terms of being up to date on the game and how it's played?
That would be a good question that would
Good
definitely
question
need to
for
be
the
answered.
debate.
Okay.
Yep. So
All right.
whenever you're ready.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are going to have 4 minutes on the clock, so you guys can meow at each other back and forth, obviously. So let's go ahead and hear it. Ben, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Mara, are you ready?
All set.
Debate away. You got 4 minutes starting now.
Look, Mara, the thing I'm going to jump in with first and just say is that while I do completely understand the performative aspect of John Roca could be a benefit, it's also the thing that he's most known for and would completely dominate anybody that he managed. John Roca has to be the center of attention in his own matches, in his team's matches, the front of his faction, or he drifts, he loses interest. It's not necessarily a knock on his history as a player, it's just that he's built to be the star. The manager cannot be the star of a successful team or a faction. If they are, it overshadows, it overpowers, and I don't believe that John Roca could do his job adequately.
I disagree because even though he clearly did the more character flourishes in his team's relationship with Dan, Dan was given the space to do the things in post interviews that made Jen cry. Roca knew when to step back. He knew that Dan is not as good at that big showy character stuff, especially attacking other people or being a little more edgy, being able to fill a heel role, not Dan's strong suit. But Dan is good. The one thing he's good at is connecting with people on an emotional level and being very sincere. John knew exactly when to step back. It didn't have to be told to shut up. So I actually think there's a bigger balance there than we might appreciate just at face value.
I think counteracting that point, I can say as one of the very few people who has played alongside the greatest player of all time in Dan Murrell, I know what that does to a player. I love to be the center of attention and I know how to handle myself, but when you play next to Dan, it changes you. I don't believe there's a single other player in the history of the movie Trivia Schmoedown that John Roca would be able to pull that off with. I think it is purely respect for the only Michael Jordan the Schmoedown has that allows that to shine through. I think literally anybody else, you can see even Roca's deferral to Dan and the way they played together was because he didn't have the confidence to overrule him. That's just because it's Dan. There is no one else who fills that role.
I also think, though, it isn't entirely fair to characterize his partner relationship in a competitive aspect where John's performance reflects who he is as a competitor and can compel an ego in a different way than when you are mentoring, fostering, and almost like parenting in a Schmoedown concept, your people. So I think that he is a performer himself. He is an actor. He runs his own successful channel. He knows how to get people into the spotlight, let them shine, or help them if they can't shine. Some people are just not good on camera, and they are amazing trivia players. John can help kind of take some of that anxiety and tension away from them where they're not used to performing, they're just used to answering questions, especially when we transition from digital, some players having only ever played digital, to playing back in a studio and playing at live events. That could cause a lot of anxiety, and I think he could do a really good job of tempering that with people. But I'd love to hear what you actually have to say from the Ghost Judge about Clark. I want to make sure you get time to do that, about her coming back after so long.
I 100% believe that Clark's ability to take the challenge on her shoulders and do it correctly, you can see it reflected in anything that she's done professionally, whether it's The Walking Dead, the stuff that she's been a part of, whether it's any of the work that she's done in the Schmoedown. She is the consummate professional. She was a winner in her first season. She was a winner in the early faction era. She was a 2-time teams champion, and she walked away when she knew she could not give the game what was necessary. 100%, if asked, Clark would come back, and she understands the assignment. That's Clark Wolf as a professional. She's not going to get back in if she thinks she's going to be half-assed. She's not going to drift. She's going to be involved exactly the way that is required. You can see it in every match that she's ever played. That attention to detail defines Clark Wolf as a competitor, as a faction member. Her ability to coach up the people in her faction is something that we've actually seen her do with a very small group, where Greg the Barbarian did that for John. I think everybody knows that. It's not even a secret. He just ran the faction. John was a player on the faction, and when he wasn't in a tournament anymore, he drifted, and he decided to retire. When John's not playing,
I mean, I don't know.
That's
correlation, not necessarily causation, though, in that respect.
I mean, correlation or causation, I can just speak for what I just saw and what we saw out of players.
2, 1, and time. That wraps up our first round debate before going into our closing statements. Woo!
I'm wrapped up. I'm good to go.
Yeah, well, I know exactly what I would need to hear going into the closing statements personally.
Yeah, I just realized I was muted. So, John Roca's ego was brought up, which leads to my question. Do you think he would be more effective as a heel manager, or if he went back to when he played as a face, what would be a better version of him as far as being a manager, whether it comes to entertainment or dealing with his faction? What would be the most effective that way? And do you think he could even pull off being a heel or a face manager? So that would be my question, if you can touch on that. And then Alex, you said you had something?
Yeah, so some things I definitely make note of specifically is that, Mara, you mentioned specifically that Roca has a history and the ability to mentor some of these newer competitors that are not in front of the camera. I would love to hear some specific examples that he has, that you can see him potentially team up with, that you can see him mentoring in the future, or some people as well that he has mentored in the past that did show some on-screen improvement, whether it be through their confidence as a competitor or as a character. I would like to see more elaboration on that. Ben, from you, what I would love to hear more about from Clark, since we didn't get a chance to hear all that too much about her, is that since we are returning more into a storyline based style of Schmoedown, such as the earlier seasons, like when she was around, I would love to see how that would be more of an asset rather than a detriment to her as a potential manager, because she hasn't been around in a while. So I would love to see how her experience in the earlier seasons would really be an asset to a potential faction or the competitors that she mentors moving forward.
Great.
And you said you were nervous about doing this again. You're right back in the saddle.
I'm a professional, sir.
Fuck yeah. All right, you hit that timer whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Ben,
right,
you're first, right?
Because I opened?
Yes, it's going to be Ben first. Sorry, not. Yeah, it's going to be Ben first.
Got it.
Okay. You do have 1 minute on the clock. Ben, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, starting. Meow.
Clark Wolf is an actress. She's not an actress in the generic sense of the word. She actually acts. She is in Atlanta auditioning and being an actress now. The show this season is about that. It is a television show this season with large storylines and performances. The requirement is to have people of that quality in the show. Clark is somebody you would hire to play a role. She has a full understanding of the game and the things that she would need to be able to do to educate players, to work with up-and-coming players. I think about somebody like a Griffin Newman who's already got a character, the way that would play off of the classy one. The way Clark would solve problems even as a player, if the wheel was imbalanced, the way that she would sort of narrow her eyes and make sure that things got handled. That's the way that she's always handled herself as a player, and I've played against her multiple times to know this. The difference between that and John is that John is somebody who works best when he's in there in the front and center capacity that he's used to being. I mean, that's why he is the original character. Mara's not wrong about that. He has so much to offer there. I just don't think that John has ever been in a position to lead a team other than top 10 or another player to success.
Time. Okay. All right. So moving on to Mara. You also have 1 minute on the clock for your closing statement. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Starting now.
So as far as the Roka heel face thing, I actually think that one of the things that works best for him is if he has a history of being able to successfully do both. That means he has the potential for season-long storylines that can cause a pivot for him doing a face turn or doing a heel turn, and that can propel greater stories moving forward for him since he can effectively do both, and he's demonstrated that. Also, as far as mentorship goes, I can only tell you my firsthand experience because I've never been on a faction with him, but John helped to keep me calm before I had big matches. He helped me to kind of balance focus and character since I don't really have a character. So I can at least say from my perspective that he did a great job of shaping me while letting me still be me. Furthermore, I really think that Clark is an actress, and I agree. But I think that John is a good balance of also having had acting experience, but he's authentic. And I think that authenticity matters both in front of the camera and behind the camera when you're actually spending time with your faction, actually mentoring them, coaching them, teaching them how to do things that they don't know how to do. So I think that because of his authenticity, his experience, and his GOAT status, that he would be the best
time.
manager.
That wraps up our closing statements for our first question surrounding what retired competitor should be a manager.
That is a hell of a round one to start this off. I will say that much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so...
Sorry.
Well, thank you. Okay, so the polls, the round one poll is posted on our Twitter if you would like to go vote. Alex, if you and the ghost judge will go in the private chat and deliberate.
Okay.
Put this in the chat real quick. A lot to do. Okay, there. All right, poll is live in the chat. How do you guys feel about that one?
I feel pretty good about that first round. It's nice to be back doing it. You know, I wish I had 5 extra seconds there. I think I had one more point that I wanted to bring home. I sandbagged it in my head from the first round, and I forgot to hit it. But, you know, it's okay. I'll make it up in the second round. So.
The extension is definitely a thing. Just a quick reminder.
Punch for punch is the
and you cannot
the
break
way
it
that
up.
this is worthwhile. So fighting the best is very taxing and exciting at the same time.
I know you're just doing a deadpan, but you sound sarcastic, and I'm going to take that as an offense.
Okay, all cards on the table. I just got my 4th shot, and I feel just terrible. So it's not. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I feel terrible.
Well,
no, Mara, I'm going to take it incredibly personally. How dare you?
Oh. I meant every word.
Person.
I take it all back. It's all a big ruse. I meant everything.
It's a big ruse just for Schmoebates. That's what it is. Yes.
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna. Okay, we're gonna need everybody to go to the poll because, as of now, we have a split decision. So
wouldn't be a good match if we didn't have one of those.
So we have it's up on our Twitter. It's in the chat. You can click the link there, and I'll leave it live until the end of the show, so people who might have started late can catch up on it. But just so you know, nobody has an advantage as of now. So,
it up, huh? Interesting.
So, Alex, we will go ahead and jump into round 2 as people are voting. If you would do the honor. Hold on. Where is it? There it is.
Question number 2, and this is going to be an interesting one. I've heard debated many a times. So to debate it here, debated formally, it's going to be that much more terrifying. Question number 2, which is more important to deciding player rankings? Is it the number of title wins, or is it accuracy?
All right. So since Ben went first last round, Mara, you are up whenever you are ready.
Ready.
Okay. All right. We have 1 minute for opening statements. And you ready? Starting now.
So I chose title wins. I think that title wins show that you can seal the deal. Prime example, if I am playing against someone and I have the higher accuracy, I only miss one question. They missed 4 questions in round 1. They are trailing me. I am running the whole show. I miss my 5. That person can swoop in and they can win. I mean, it's that simple. Accuracy is excellent when you're discussing players of equal caliber, as in non-champions versus champions. It can be a good differentiator, but accuracy is not a weighted metric. It does not account for people that have played 1 match or people that have played 25 matches. I don't think that you can use that to just accurately decide a player against another player. It can differentiate players, but as far as ranking, I think it's a very subjective ranking because no one has ever put in the time to analyze accuracy as a weighted average. So I think sealing the deal is overall the most important thing in terms of addressing player rankings, since we don't have a metric that can properly delineate accuracy based on experience.
And time. All right, that wraps up Mara's opening statement. And over to Ben will be arguing in favor of accuracy. All right, are you ready, Ben?
I'm ready.
You have 1 minute starting now.
Look, let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way. I get it. We both won titles, and the narrative that goes along with sports or any kind of competition is that titles are the defining characteristic when ranking the greatest players. I understand that's where we're going to start with this conversation. However, that being said, you aren't going to compare Dan Murrell to Janine the Machine because they're similar players when Janine's never won a title and Dan's won like 12 title matches. But if you're going to have somebody near Dan, that's the only time that Dan's number of titles actually matter. You're going to compare your record to somebody with 1 title in your same division, same thing. You can use other metrics like tournament wins or accuracy or number of questions right over time to separate players outside of just the top of the top. And ranking goes beyond just the first couple spots on the all-time list. That's the reality here, Mara. We're not just talking about spots 1, 2, and 3. There's over 100 Schmoebates players that have won important matches all time, and you have to be able to rank those players beyond just the few of them that have won titles. If we're going to talk about rankings, I want to rank every single player, not just the cream of the crop.
And time. Something tells me this might be my favorite debate of the evening, Jake.
Yeah, that was a lot more intense than I guess I was anticipating somehow.
Yeah, you thought it was going to be rolling over, didn't you? Didn't you, judges? Didn't you, people? I'm here to play. Woo!
It's almost like he likes debating or something crazy. I don't know.
We never gave warnings on this show before, did we?
I have threatened to kick someone off on many a time. I remember I literally threatened Christian to I will mute you if needed.
Yeah. Well, what a time. I actually I've got nothing on this one. I just want to listen to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, some of the things I'm really excited to hear is Mara really kind of dive into why title, especially when multiple titles with multiple divisions are involved, and really ranking between like the top 5 competitors when there's really very little to no difference. Her really kind of take a stab at what makes accuracy not as much of a big deal, and vice versa, versus like Ben's argument with accuracy. Why the big win? Why winning a title is not as big of a deal comparatively to having a higher accuracy? So, yeah, this is a tough one overall.
Yeah, and the ghost judge has a question that you basically just touched on. So, in their wording, it was how would we determine ranking in terms of when you truly do have 2 players with an incredibly like record? What would be the second metric?
Well, something I really want to hear them dive into as well is, Mara, for you, I really want to hear some competitors that do have really great that have had titles under the belts with not as great accuracy ratings, and vice versa with Ben, competitors with really fantastic, impeccable stats with little to no titles under their belts as well. And how do they rank in terms of conversation with some of the top tier competitors that do have the big wins?
Happy to get started.
All right.
All right. Well, you guys both have 4 minutes on the clock. Let's hear you guys yell at each other and meow some more. And 5, 4, tres, dos, uno.
I think Robert Parker and I are honestly the perfect example here. Robert Parker has just a notoriously fantastic level of accuracy. He plays perfect matches. Everybody has reminded me several times how poor of an accuracy record I have as a 2-time champion. However, no matter how fantastic of a player Robert Parker is, it does matter. I'm not necessarily saying accuracy does not matter. I never said that. I said it is a great metric to compare and differentiate between close competitors. Not that it doesn't matter at all, but sad but true, when it comes to rankings, I would have a higher player ranking than Robert Parker because I'm a 2-time champion.
I mean, Mara, that may be sad but true, but that's also the only thing that I started my first statement with. I mean, that's obvious. This question can't even exist if that's the only metric we're going to use. I mean, what, have you won a title or haven't you won a title? Can't be the start and stop of this. When you look at Robert Parker and you compare him to somebody like Hector Navarro, that's when the conversation gets interesting. You're talking about people when the game was different. You're talking about people when the accuracy didn't matter as far as getting to the top. Robert Parker plays in an era where winning a title means everything lines up and you have the preparation. You are just the Dan Murrell or the Dan Murrell close adjacent of your division. I mean, it's just you and Mike, right? That's all there is. That's all we're talking about. So again, I can't compare myself to Dan. There's 8, 9, 10 people between us just based on number of titles, multiple divisions. That's just how it works, right? But if I'm going to compare myself to Paloyama, if I'm going to compare myself to Marisol McKee right now, you know, somebody who's got one title, never lost it, never won it back, that's when the conversation gets interesting. And that's when you have to look at
That's exactly what I'm saying, though. I think we all agree. We are saying that this is for differentiating players that are closely related in terms of their accomplishments. So by default, by saying, okay, the cream of the crop, you're analyzing title wins, and the lower tier players, you're analyzing accuracy. You're literally saying that the first metric you're using, the more important metric, is title wins, and accuracy is used to further create striations in the rankings. So I don't understand why we're disagreeing here. It's the same thing.
If we are disagreeing and we're going to default to that point, then this is a broken question, and everybody watching and all the judges should understand that, because it's a setup question: who's going to win this match? But it isn't that. The judges didn't set this up that way. They understand there's more nuance to this question, because it's true. All right, look, I've gotten to the finals of or won multiple tournaments in my career. That means winning 3, 4 matches in a row in a division. But that doesn't account for titles. That accounts for wins. That accounts for all-time questions answered and accuracy.
But
that's
that
more
doesn't take into account
person.
Accuracy. I played terribly in my Intergeekdom tournament, and I won the tournament. That winning a tournament can be its own metric, but that doesn't necessarily reflect that you have excellent accuracy, though.
Sure, and I would say that if I'm going to compare Paul Preston to Janine the Machine, and I'm going to look at their 2 records all time and the way they've played, I will probably give Paul Preston the slight edge, even though I actually think Janine's been a far more important player all time. She's done bigger things. She's played in bigger matches, but Paul Preston's been extraordinarily accurate. I think that if you're going to really split hairs, that is the defining characteristic. It's going to be accuracy. But I ultimately think that there are more things than just titles. As I mentioned, player impact, as I talked about, tournaments. I think there being significance to the time you played, things you did, accomplishments you had, performance. These are all things that I think factor in more than just titles. I mean, Roca gets a bump because he's a great performer. Ghai gets a bump on the all-time players list because he's a phenomenal performer with bad accuracy. There are just more things than just titles. We can't just lean into titles.
Right, but the question isn't what's more important, title wins or the amalgamation of every other characteristic that you just said between like tournaments and character things and other accomplishments. Like the specific one is accuracy, and accuracy doesn't account for the differences in weighted averages. That's the one thing that I think is most flawed about the term accuracy. Like someone who's played as many matches as Dan and somebody who's played 2 matches might have impeccable accuracy, but can't even possibly compare to him in terms of overall player ranking.
And time. That wraps up our open debate for question number 2.
Well, there you have it.
This is exactly what I wanted it to be. And thanks for the shout out to the judges. It's not going to help you, you pandering fuck. We did have another one come in from the ghost judge. Basically, when they determine which baseball players win awards at the end of the year, they go into the Hall of Fame, they look at their stats and not how many titles they won. Even though it's a team sport, on an individual basis, it is all of the stats that are what determine who the best players are. And how would you respond to that in terms of your varying arguments?
I mean, I know how I would respond. Can I get going? My closing statement?
Not yet. Alex, you have
real
anything?
quick. So something I really want to know specifically is that accuracy and titles are, to me, they're both very, very important, obviously. Now, when it comes to the individual competitor themselves, I want to know from you guys are both belt holders. I think you guys both have solid accuracy ratings. As competitors, which ones do you feel most pride in when it comes to working on yourself as competitors, when it comes to studying, when it comes to how you feel like you want to improve? I would love to see you guys kind of go into that a little more detail. How does having a certain accuracy or a win under your belt really affect you as a competitor? Does it affect your mindset? Does it not affect you? Does it make you kind of get down on yourself if you have if you get that loss, but you have a higher accuracy, and so you kind of feel better about yourself? Or vice versa, if you get the win, but you have a shitty accuracy ratings. So I'm kind of curious for you guys as two champions, how it feels for you.
All right. So Mara will be going first for the closing
I'm going to
statements.
utilize my 30-second time extension first, please.
Okay. All right. So you're going to have a solid 1.5 minutes on the clock. Okay. All right. You ready, Mara?
Ready.
Starting now.
First, I'll address myself. When it comes to training, sad but true, I'm training to win. I'm training to get to that next title, because I could have lower accuracy than somebody else, but the thing that I want, that notch that I want, is not to see myself at the top of the accuracy ranking. It's at the top of the, I want to be in GOAT status conversation, and it does take titles to do that. Now, shaping that forward to the idea of baseball and awards, and that topic got brought up. Awards are different than rankings because they take into account and award those other intrinsic factors, and those intangibles that we don't even rank players about, that Ben had mentioned, like tournaments and stuff like that. That is exactly what the awards are for, is to demonstrate how there are different examples of excellence regardless of how many titles you have. But one of the things that I think is very important about talking about accuracy is degree of difficulty. Accuracy does not take into account the degree of difficulty. For example, I have played in almost more 5-round matches than 3-round matches. Dan Merle has played in more title matches than regular matches.
30 seconds.
The idea that more difficult questions are being asked to us can affect the idea of whether or not our accuracy means as much compared to somebody who's only ever played 3-round matches. Furthermore, I just really have to go back to the idea that accuracy should be a weighted metric, because then I think it would hold significantly more weight, because I do think it's important. It's incredibly important to create striations between players of similar quality. But I think that the more important factor for overall ranking as an objective thing is definitely going to be number of title wins. And it's just a question of more important.
And time. That wraps up Mara's argument, including the 30-second extension.
All right, Ben, you ready?
You ready?
Let's do it.
Starting now.
First of all, I'd like to address the statement that Dan Merle has played in more title matches than regular matches. I don't believe that that is true. If that is fact-checked and actually an accurate metric, maybe. I don't think it's actually accurate, though. It's probably close. I'd just like to throw that out there, because if I don't correct it, nobody else will. I find it interesting that, Mara, you will bring up the fact that the awards take into consideration things other than titles, but it's the awards themselves that go into our all-time rankings when deciding where we rank players. How can you invalidate what goes into that when you're going to talk about that it does matter? You can't have it both ways there. They do determine things other than belts to give awards, right? Well, that's what I'm looking at too. I have to be able to look at somebody's entire career and what they've done outside of just the biggest moments and the biggest matches. We also both know level of difficulty or no level of difficulty. We have no control over the 5-point question. And the 5-point question is so absurdly weighted compared to anything else in the entire control that question. There is a lot of preparation that is going to get you to a name you don't know when you are unprepared. I'm taking my extension, Alex. I want my 30 seconds. There is no amount of preparation that is going to be able to get you to an answer you just don't know. You can be the most knowledgeable player on earth and still lose on the 5-point question, which means ultimately the number of questions that you get right has to be as valuable all time as titles. Look, I'm happy that I have this title. I'm happy that I've won one Schmoedown title, and I want to win more of them. And I know that the way the general public will think of me will improve if I get more titles. But I know that the people that play the game and matter, whose opinions matter the most, will be based on achievements other than just titles. I know that, and so do you. And you can't lie to yourself.
And time. If you said another word, I would have to have that comment stricken from the record.
Boom!
By the way, I did put something in the private chat because I misspoke. However, it's still accurate. So just want to make sure that people know that that's there. I didn't intentionally say something that was a lie.
I'm just keeping things on the up and up here, Mara.
No, you should call me out if I misspeak. Absolutely. I just wanted you to know that I corrected what should have been the statement. However, it's still accurate in terms of the point I was making.
Well, unfortunately,
Mara.
we will not be able to debate whether or not Mara did or didn't say something that was true or not. And also, can I go into whether or not Ben was right or wrong about said correction, potentially. So we're going to leave it up to myself and our judges. Ghost judges, more specifically.
Sorry, I'm not yelling at you. Stop. I'm yelling at my cat.
We lost a grommet on the belt. It's going on the ground for now.
That is a very hefty belt. Okay. Well, Ben, I'm kind of curious, specifically. So, who do you think you're going to be? Who's going to be managing you this coming season? For
this season, I'm thinking some things over. Kaiser presented a pretty interesting deal to me, and
oh, really?
Dan and I, we have to talk about it. I mean, there's something on the table, and it's a number one contender match. If we beat any team, I think it's a really interesting deal. And so, yeah, Dan and I we're thinking it over.
Well, that's usually how it goes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a strong pitch, though. It's a strong pitch. I don't know, Mara, if Dan told you about it, but it's a pretty good pitch.
Mm-hmm. I've been privy to some conversations. I'm a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh. Mara,
you guys definitely have the chops to be able to seal the deal. I truly believe so.
Damn it, I was muted again. The polls are live on Twitter. Sorry. It's these damn helicopters. I'm trying not to let it override what y'all are saying.
Do you have warrants?
I live right next to Fort Rucker. It's the home of Army Aviation. I mean,
I was just trying to make a joke.
I know.
Jake, get your shit together.
Yeah.
Get on.
Kaiser makes that joke every damn time. You've been spending too much time around.
That's not accurate.
Mara,
there's no such thing.
You see yourself being mentored and coached by this season?
Well, I mean, it's a reboot. So, I mean, what did I do when I started? I did everything by myself.
Is it going to be Makuka then in that case?
No, I was mentored and coached by nobody when I started. I won that tournament and I won that belt just with sweat and with Dan helping me at home because, of course, as my partner in life, he is going to help me. So, I mean, I don't see any problem with rebooting it back to where it used to be. I don't know how things are going to shake out, but I did it alone once. I can do it alone again.
What I'm hearing is that managers, get your shit together and you need to recruit some of these people. Okay. What the fuck are you even doing? Guys, come on. Get your shit together. Okay. These people are unclaimed. What the fuck?
I'm a special unicorn. It takes a lot to get me in a stable and to tame me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So our judges are still deliberating. And so I want to remind everybody that round one was split and we need those votes in the polls. You can find them on our Twitter. I'll put it back in there again. And please vote on this one as well. You never know. It could be the deciding factor on who takes home that belt.
The polls do not decide, though, right? They're just supplemental material.
It's a tiebreaker. If Alex and the ghost judge do not agree, the poll is the tiebreaker.
So you're telling me people that see the option of what's more important, records or belts, and blindly vote are going to be considered? Because I feel that that's probably going to be something that happens. I don't know. Just me. Just saying.
I do think this is a very, very complicated question to be discussed. and answered. Well, we just debated, and that's why Jake chose this very complicated question. But we do ask on Twitter specifically that if you have not seen this debate, please do not vote. This is not for you.
I just want equity, Alex. That's all I want. I want
Yeah.
Mara and I to
I know,
both
I
have a
hear you.
fair shot. I respect the hell out of my opponent, and I don't want anybody, tipping the scales because they like the shine of a belt. I like the shine of a belt too, but I had to work for it.
The shine,
Yeah, I want it to be fair because I know in a popularity contest, I will win. So I want to make sure it's based on merit.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I think it's the glasses. It's like the sunglasses. It's really killing people sometimes.
I've just
I've
loving
got 2
how
pairs of sunglasses in arm's reach. I'm just exercising some self-control. I got one here,
Like,
and I got one here.
Wait, we can make some things happen, Oh yeah.
Ooh, look at those.
I mean,
Almost like John Lennon glasses.
Oh, those are
the only
nice.
glasses I have around me are the Action
Target.
Industries ones, and that would be a little biased. So
You
I'm
mean
not gonna
these
do
ones,
that.
Jake?
Yeah. Except mine collect dust. I don't wear that shit.
Wow, rude.
All right, we are ready to move on to round 3. If you
Final
will.
question. Here we go.
Yes. I'm not nervous. Are you nervous, Jake?
I'm never nervous. I don't give a fuck.
Of course not.
All right, Alex.
I should have known what you'd say when she asked you
Wait.
that.
Before we do that, yeah, you know me, Mara. So Mara, since Ben won the first coin flip, you get to flip this one to see who goes first in round 3. Would you like Team Ghai or Team Trader?
The one that applies to being called traditionally tails, please.
I don't know that exists.
That's a new card.
You guys don't have a heads and a tails like
the answer is
a
no. How dare
relationship?
you.
I'm
Mark.
heads, obviously. So
There you go. So
take
so
it.
if Ben is heads, I choose tails.
All right. This time it is tails.
I don't know, Mara. Having the cat right there in your favor might get you some extra votes. I'm just putting that out there.
He's very hungry right now, and he doesn't get fed for 90 more minutes. So I don't know what he's thinking is going to happen right now.
My cat is right over here, and he's making. She's making biscuits on our comforter.
I love when they cook.
The life. That's the life. All right.
All right. So it was tails, which I believe is what you said, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to go first or second in round 3?
Second, please.
Okay.
All right. And you have both used your time extensions. So, Alex, if you will, do the honor.
This is it. The final question of the Schmoebates tournament. Question number 3. If the Wildberries and the Real Rejects had to swap partners, what would be the best potential pairing?
You know, we always try to keep it fun for the third one.
Teams, so we got some options.
Yeah. So we are ready for this final round for the belt. Put it all on the table. Don't leave anything out there. Alex, whenever you're ready.
You have 1 minute on the clock, Ben.
Let's do it.
Ready? Starting now.
I mean, I think if you really want to look at these 4 competitors and figure out the best 2, it's a fairly easy decision. They're 4 incredibly entertaining individuals who all would work well together in any combination. Whatever you pick, Mara, I'm sure it's going to be a great combination of personalities. However, the difference is I just picked the 2 strongest players. I just picked the 2 players that offer the most. So Elliot Dewberry and John Humphrey collectively have more to offer in their careers as singles players, really. They have been better. I mean, John Humphrey is a free-for-all MVP. Elliot Dewberry is like a real player. He's actually competed and won at high levels. He has the freaking first round is called a Dewberry now because of the fact that he got a perfect round. That's something the other guys can't boast. I cover my bases in IG. Humphrey played in IG. He's somebody that has something to offer there as well. So really, for me, it's a pretty obvious decision. I picked the best of both worlds. I don't really think there's a version you can convince me of that Alba and Makuga will be anything other than entertaining and less accurate. They will be entertaining.
And time. All right. Great combination. Okay. Over to Mara. You also have 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Starting now.
I 100% agree with Ben. I don't know if there's a bad combination between any of these people. So I think we just have to start splitting hairs here. So I'm not diminishing Ben's choice at all. I'm just saying I think that mine is overall better. I picked Dewberry and Alba. I think that Alba fills the void for the character work that would be empty by Makuga. He has the absolute best free-for-all entrance of all time. The man pissed his pants. Like, it's amazing. I also think that he is a much better Intergeekdom player. He's a more serious IG player. He almost beat Mike Kalinowski in the tournament, like in 2020. I mean, that's pretty amazing considering Mike is the undisputed GOAT of Intergeekdom. Also, I think that because they would have a better team dynamic between the fact that they are both the stronger players of their respective teams and great characters, that's a potential for better storylines. More storylines get you more matches. This is a reboot season. So my team, which is called the better half, by the way, would definitely be the more effective, more entertaining team.
And time, the better half. Ooh, we got it. We already got a team name.
Yeah, so Ben, you're definitely going to have to come up with a team name now.
I've already got one. I'm saving it for the third round.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Ghost Judge, if you got anything, throw it in now or forever hold your peace.
I do think that Mara made some really great points right off the gate, specifically mentioning the variety of divisions, emphasizing IG as well with Alba, character work as well, versus Ben. He can really just kind of point it out. It comes down to Dewberry being both of them being actually solid individual singles competitors and potentially working as a team. So Mara kind of listed several facts. Versus Ben just emphasized potential chemistry and just they're solid competitors individually. So I really want to see more of that, potentially talk about character work. I want to see how they can kind of do really well, not just in teams, but potentially outside of teams as well. Just what would the chemistry like? What would the promos be like? What would that potential storylines look like? I want to hear it. These are both of some iconic teams. And I would be a little sad to see them break them up. So if they're going to break up, that'd be for a good reason.
I'm just a little sad that Makuga didn't get any love there, but it is what it is. I would love to see any combination.
Makuga doesn't know who directed Jurassic Park, my dude. So I don't know what to tell you.
I know, but still.
Yeah.
But again, I would still love to see any iteration of these four. It would be awesome. So I don't have anything. The Ghost Judge's question was the same as mine. What would Ben propose the team name to be, which asked and answered so far. So I believe we can go into the open debate.
All right. Okay, so we are going to be starting with Ben and Mara to go into the open debate itself. You guys both have 4 minutes on the clock. Are you ready, Ben?
Yes.
Mara, you all set?
All set.
Okay. 3, 2, starting now.
I think with Humphrey and Dewberry, you can expect there to be something a little bit less broed out and what berries and all that stuff. I don't think you're going to see nearly as much yelling and screaming. I think there's going to be some weird nuance, some performance art, perhaps, in the way that they come out. Something like a character out of Always Sunny. I mean, I think there's just some weirdness going on with those characters that I really think would make for a compelling team. And you talked about, Dewberry or Alba almost beat Kalinowski. I mean, Mara, if you got credit for almost beating great players, trust me, I'd get a hell of a lot more credit for almost beating Dan twice. But we both know the only credit you get is when you're trying to spin your own narrative and tell a story about how great you are. But when people really talk about what matters, they don't give a damn about that. No one cares about that. No one cares about how close I got. That's just the actual cold, hard truth. Almost.
Well, now that Intergeekdom slices are eligible, though, for singles and teams matches at any given point in time, I do think that knowing which one of the two real rejects is the stronger Intergeekdom competitor does carry some weight if we're going to talk about splitting up the performance aspect as far as character and the performance aspect of winning, because there's definitely a balance there when it comes to getting matches. But I do think that at least in the component of winning matches, that he's the stronger IG player for that.
I mean, I do understand what you're saying, that Alba got a couple matches that he actually looked okay, but it's balanced out by the fact that John Humphrey has just been the clearly better player in singles. I mean, it is so obviously balanced out, and we both know the way that things have been shifted going forward now with Intergeekdom Slices being available on the regular wheel. The level of difficulty of those questions is going to be lower, which means that even a more average player like John Humphrey is going to do fine. He'll be able to answer the surface level questions in round 2 of a teams match. We're not talking about the seventh son of Endor. I don't even know what the hell that is, but we're not talking about anything like that. We're talking about stuff that is accessible to players that don't have to put in the crazy amount of time.
Strongly disagree. Mike and Chance completely flailed in an Intergeekdom category in a teams match. There is no guarantee that Intergeekdom questions are going to be gettable and easy for people that are not super skilled at IG.
But that was last year. That was not this year. And things have changed because the slices are now available to be put on regular wheels. They are going to be available to show up on any regular wheel. The question difficulty has to come down. Otherwise, you are unfairly weighting the wheel towards Intergeekdom, which we both know the Schmoedown is inherently fair and balanced and totally caters to the needs of players. We both know that. Don't call that into question. That's ridiculous.
Well, again, agree to disagree because there's no formal guidance that says that they're guaranteeing singles and teams questions will be easier. However, I would like to pivot a little bit to the idea of balance. I think that, for example, from a storyline perspective and from a season-long arc perspective, having Dewberry Alba against Makuga Humphrey, because they both create some balance and they both fill in voids for one another, that makes it a solid rivalry because you're fighting against someone of equal strength. It's no fun when you have David versus Goliath because yes, in that specific story, if you believe in like the Bible, we know that the little guy won, but the odds are so stacked against people that the storylines are just going to be weighted down by the more interesting or whatever team. And I think that the balance of the two of them would create better promos, better story, a season-long rivalry that could be super interesting and more dynamic than having the team that you paired up versus the two remaining players.
I mean, listen, Mara, Humphrey has not come out and said openly that he is busy, has other things going on, and can't make time to prepare. Alba has come out and outright said that, and that was last year. I don't think there's any way that Alba brings anything to the table to actually achieve what would need to be achieved to be competitive in this league. And unless you're going to go with a full-on novelty team, which is what the Wildberries were, you need to be able to do something that's a little bit more competitive. I just don't think Alba's the guy that's going to commit. That's the cold, hard truth. Boom!
And time. That wraps up our 4 minutes of open debate, our last open debate of the tournament.
Well, I'm ready to see where this goes. That was a very good point about John not saying publicly that he's too busy for anything. But pretty much everything I see Greg do, John's there too. So personally, I don't know how much weight that has, but if maybe you have something else to touch on, it might sway me, even though I don't have a vote. But
yeah, well, something that kind of stood out to me is Ben really kind of mentioned that the team that he envisions with Dewberry Humphreys is a potentially an actual legitimate team. They're not there to just piss themselves on a stage. They're there to do more than just broy interactions, during live events and everything. They might do something more art house, potentially more something inspired by It's Always Sunny. So that would be an interesting dynamic to see being brought to Schmoedown. But yeah, also kind of mentioned that Ben really kind of ended the debate mentioning Alba has said outright that he's a busy dude, obviously, and he doesn't intend to make Schmoedown more a part of his life than it already is. He's a busy guy and he's doing other stuff, and he's like, I'm not going to be studying or anything as extensively as is asked of me.
I'm sorry, I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what. It's just the way it is. So I really am looking forward to see Mara do some retaliate to that. She also mentioned, again, we're waiting for that name. I would love to see more from Mara regarding potential. What would the promos look like? You mentioned a little bit about how they could really help each other with the character work, help with the entrances, and how they already have a really, really great chemistry. So I would really love to see more extensive focus on how they would actually be as an actual team during the game itself. And what they would also like bring as a team to their manager.
Okay.
I know that's a lot of
We did have something from the Ghost Judge. Could personality affect their gameplay? Not in. I mean, they all kind of have a similar personality, but
what?
yeah, I guess you could take that as you will.
Well, there are competitors where characters don't succeed with the competitor. I mean, characters don't succeed with a certain competitor, but once they change it to the right character to fit the competitor, sometimes it's like flipping a switch. It just works. Lawn. So
there's a clarification. It says, meaning could character overshadow the ability to play? That happens a lot. Elena Jordan can be a good example.
All right. Those
okay,
are some
so
great
we
ones.
can roll with that then.
Okay.
We're ready to get into the
All
closing
right.
statements of this match.
Closing statement. These are going to be our final closing statements of the tournament of the evening that could determine the winner.
Ben
all right.
will be going first.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yes.
1 minute on the clock, starting now.
All right. So, look, the question regarding character is not going to be a factor because the rowdy half of the Wild Berries was always Josh McCouga. Now, Elliot Dewberry kept up with that, but he was always a stone-cold focused competitor when the trivia came to be the thing in question. John Humphrey, again, being the stronger of the two trivia players, those guys together are not going to overshadow a manager. They're not going to come in there and do anything wild. They're going to listen to the questions. They're going to answer the questions. That's the truth. You see that thing that Greg does sometimes where he gets a question, he just kind of laughs if he doesn't know. He checks out. Love the guy to death, but that's more of his MO. You don't see that come from John and from Dewberry. Now, my team name, the Mad Berries, obviously a classic combination of the Mad Hatter and the actual part of the berry, right? Elliot Dewberry. That's where we got the berry from. The Mad Berries is what you would see in this season of the Schmoedown. They're built for season 9 of the Schmoedown. They're a real team, a competitive team, and not a team that's going to get overshadowed by anything else. This is a team that can win in 2022.
And time. The Mad Berries. That's a pretty solid team name. I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mara, you also have your final closing statements. Are you ready?
Ready.
You have 1 minute starting now.
First, I want to start with player metrics because I went to the Schmoedown's website and Dewberry and Alba objectively have better player metrics. So I think that at a minimum we can nullify that point that either group is objectively stronger. However, factually mine is. Talking about character overshadowing the ability to play, I think that is only looking retroactively. And I also think that is where those players were at that point. That is how they were directed to be. So I think that when we look forward, we see that Greg has definitely demonstrated the ability to have composure, even if at times he pisses his pants. I think as far as promos go, Dewberry and Alba, it's a train him up Rocky. That's exactly what it is. Dewberry's going to get Alba in shape. He's going to make him stop peeing his pants. As far as distraction, people do not know what's going on in other people's personal lives. Just because he said it publicly that he has things going on, I have a lot of shit going on. And you know what? I still manage to show up, play, and win. And I think that they bring to their team and their manager an interesting dynamic of people that are going to get matches.
And time. That wraps up the closing statements for both of our competitors, for both of our champions.
I'm so glad it's done, though. It was so much fun.
Can I, while we get for the poll coming, can I use the restroom and be right back?
No, pee your pants. Pull a Greg Alba.
I love how that fourth shot made you feisty.
Excuse you, Jay.
Yeah.
She was always feisty.
Oh, I know. I've been the brunt of it.
That is so not true. I'm incredibly nice to you.
For the most part. 99% of the time.
There you go. By the way, I really am sorry about the cats. They are very insistent at this time.
Oh, no, you're good. I mean, people in the chat are loving it. Like,
oh, well, good.
On here, Periscope ass floating across the camera makes me happy.
That's accurate.
So the poll is live on our Twitter for all 3 rounds. You can still vote on all 3 of them. And it could determine what happens here. So, Alex, if you and the Ghost Judge will do your thing in the back.
Yeah. Oh, I already did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And yeah, we're gonna leave this poll open. Alex, if you can throw a 5-minute timer on there for me.
Yeah, of course. I'll do that right now.
Thank you.
Ooh.
And the helicopters are
I
back.
need to ask Dan Merle to bring me some food.
Oh, what is he going to bring you?
Well, I have some falafel left over from earlier, but I don't know if I can eat anything that heavy, so I might just eat white cheddar Cheetos.
I mean, I'm into some Cheetos. I love Cheetos. Do you ever eat Cheetos with chopsticks?
No.
That is
that
the way to
sounds
go.
interesting.
The way to go. I'm not even kidding. It's so like
There
you
was a
will.
thing on Shark Tank about like a thing that someone could use for like snacks when they're on their computer, so that way they don't get like crumbs and stuff on their computer. It was weird. It was on like an episode 2 weeks ago. You might need that.
I like to eat Cheetos with chopstick personally, just because it doesn't get on my hands or fingers, so I can like multitask. Versus like if I do it, like it gets everywhere.
But I mean, that's part of the experience.
Yeah, that's a horrible experience that makes me never want to eat Cheetos.
It's like food glitter. You can never get rid of all the Cheeto dust.
And
Yeah,
it gets
fair
everywhere.
enough.
Like no one wants that.
Mm.
And it
Speaking
ain't
of-
cute, Jake. It's not cute.
I was just gonna say, speaking of Shark Tank, I never really got into it until they started posting all the clips on YouTube, and I kind of went down a rabbit hole, and I actually bought something that they backed. It was
Did you buy a Scrub Daddy?
Nah, it was the Comfy. It's like the better Snuggie. It has like the pockets and everything.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I bought that and gave it to my mom. She said she loves it.
Oh, that's really sweet.
There are a couple other things I thought about.
Kitty.
Now I wonder where's my cat at.
Let's see, let me remind everybody, please go to the poll posted on our Twitter. I just put it back in the chat again. Where are we at on time there, Alex?
We have just over 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
Guys, if you have not gone and voted, what the fuck are you doing? I say that with all the love in the world. Love, respect, and affection in the world.
Did I win while I was gone?
We'll find out.
We're waiting. Well, since we have a couple minutes on the vote, should we go ahead and bring in our ghost judge?
Oh yeah.
We usually do it after the vote, but since we have some time, let's go ahead and do it. Ghost judge, if you would please turn on your camera and mic.
You want to take off the border thingy first?
Yeah, I got like 8 things I got to click on to do this.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so this person is actually these people. They only had one vote. They deliberated and combined together. They are great parts of this community. And I know you all know them, but they recently joined up to create a company together called Ember Productions. Please welcome Mr. Maxwell Haddad and Miss Amber Coates.
Hello.
Hey, look at this.
Hello.
Oh,
What's up? Hello, beautiful people.
Let me
How's it going?
rearrange some stuff here.
We already
Wow.
basically share a mind,
What's
so having
happening?
one vote wasn't all that challenging, anyways.
Yeah, pretty much. No, but y'all know. Y'all know how it
Judges. I didn't know that.
be. But yeah, I mean, we're the same person. Yeah, y'all know how it be. How's everybody doing tonight? I noticed that there were cats. Made me very happy.
always cats. My cat is very body positive, so he likes to show off his butthole to everybody.
Yeah.
I was making dinner very early, and then I stepped on mine. So I was like, everybody's gonna hate me for this. And she just screamed and ran away. And I was like, okay, well, I love you. Goodbye.
Well, definitely some strong questions coming in from the ghost judges. I tried my best to answer them. I definitely feel I had weaker options to argue for this. The second one especially is an absurd question. I don't know how that question snuck through, and we actually had to argue that. But
Yeah,
you know
It's
what?
a hard question.
It
I was literally the fence the entire time. I was like,
I mean,
look,
technically,
there's a
it was
point to
my
be
fault.
made. That's
Yeah,
an absurd thing to ask two people that have won titles. You're literally asking me to stab myself in the stomach while fighting. I mean, that's a tough.
I mean,
When
yes, it was my question, but I'm still going to blame PLD.
Well, it makes sense that
yeah.
you would write a poor question, Jake. That tracks with everything I know
Fuck
and love
you,
and hate about
Max.
you. No, come on.
I literally when Jake
30
when
seconds.
Jake went to check the door, I was literally gonna say something in the private chat like, "Aw, I'm so sorry for them," and then I was like, "Wait, they're gonna know who I am, so I'm not gonna do that." Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm so
like,
sorry they had to
everybody.
step foot on your property
I-
accidentally.
I might have did some after like hearing the question. I might have sent Jake some not so nice.
There were
comments
some
last
words.
night.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "This does not make sense. You need to
It's-
change it."
I think the hardest part about
it right now.
it's a hard
Some
question.
of the
Like,
questions
It
I
is- no,
sent
it is a
you
hard
because they were
question.
better.
But it's just clearly,
Yeah.
it's a very clearly biased answer. And I know whoever got the had to go with one clearly had quite the uphill battle.
So for
Yeah.
me, just for my mindset, I did debate in high school. So I tried to put aside what I thought the right answer would be and focus on the technique and skill and use of language in the individual arguments. And you were both really, really excellent. You both are very skilled debaters. So whoever ends up winning, congratulations to you both for a job well done tonight.
absolutely. We really are the same person because I also debated in high school and became a debate coach. And I was just listening and I was like, beautifully succinct, beautiful arguments. And I was like, ooh, okay. They're both very passionate about these arguments. I like it. Or at least display passion. And I was like, that's a good thing. It comes into play with good debating. And Mara, these words that you were just like throwing out, I was like, striations. I was like, there's the scientist.
Oh yeah,
we
we had a little striations dance party backstage. It was pretty good. It's a
Like-
great word.
Thank you. I was going to use stratification, but I just didn't have the time for the syllables.
Well, remember, even though he doesn't have a vote, it's still important to use language that Jake will understand. So I think that was one step too far, maybe.
Why the fuck do I invite you on these things, man?
Because you love us, supposedly.
Agreed.
Something
This
like
happened
that.
last time he was my co-host. It was the same
Jake
thing.
also
Stop making yourself such an
Jake
easy
is a little
target.
bit of a he likes to be tortured a little bit. That's just who he is.
Oh yeah, I'm
Got it.
I'm a
Jinx.
complete masochist. It is what it is. I know.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I haven't done this, and I don't. What Jake? When was the championship match? A year ago?
Jesus.
Longer ago?
That was longer than a year. I think we sent you the belt before COVID, didn't we?
Well, guys, it's been 5
COVID, what's
minutes.
that?
So if you're in the chat and you have not voted, too fucking bad. It's
Oh, time's up.
five. You. I gave you extra time. It's been 7 minutes actually.
All right. Well, let me mosey on over here real quick. And we have a winner.
Mhm.
Alex, would you like to announce it?
Is it in the private chat? I'm confused.
Kitten.
It's in the Twitter chat.
That's I don't know how to read that. Okay, so for question number 1, can you pull the first question? The first question being, with Sam's retirement announcement, which retired personality would be the best new manager?
Y'all were split. It went to the vote. It went to the chat or the poll. And
So are you telling me we don't have a winner for question number 1? I'm confused.
no, we do. We do.
We do?
It's the one I put in there.
Yeah. So for question number 1, the winner is Mark.
Ridiculous.
So sassy, Benjamin.
I mean, if you go off the chat, those people in the vote, they're not watching the show. They're blindly voting for what they think. We all know that. Let's call it what it is.
Well, we got 30 watching, and there were like 30 votes, so
Mhm.
I'd say it's pretty fair.
I think Ben's demanding a recall.
The forms weren't marked properly. They weren't dropped off.
Oh
Time.
boy.
Jake.
Give me just 1 second here.
I saw bags of votes in my driveway. Just
Oh.
while we were doing this.
hanging
Come
out.
on.
You know
I
what?
actually live in Florida. I know all about bad votes. Come on now.
Okay.
Bags of votes, just hanging out.
So for question 2, the judges had an agreement. I'm not going to say who it was just yet.
Okay.
For question 3, it ended up going to the poll again.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to it, Alex, you want to say it?
Alex won? Oh my God. Sorry.
That's very frustrating. So our winner tonight of the 2021/2022, what it's time, I don't know what the fuck it is. Schmoebates winner is Mark Knopic. Ben, I'm sorry, my dude, but you're gonna have to mail that beautiful, gorgeous, sexy belt over to Arkansas.
And I will say, as much controversy as there was with that second question, it didn't matter because it was a clean sweep.
Well, I think Ben would argue there was nothing clean about it. However, I will still savor this moment. I will give Ben some. I'll make a trade. I'll trade the belt for some cookies. I think that
take
that
it.
can be arranged.
I'll take it.
Oh,
It's the best trade you can get, really, honestly.
it's a good trade. They're good cookies.
Worthwhile. It's a worthwhile trade.
If it wasn't an incredibly tough fight, then it wouldn't have been worth it. I've said it every single match. Like playing against great competition is the best thing there is. Easy wins are no fun, and going up against the champion was such an honor. I know he's going to be back. And as we've all seen, I can't defend a belt worth shit. So, I mean, my track record's not good.
Mara,
Well, we'll see.
congratulations on your win. Obviously, it was well earned. Now that you are looking back at some of the questions that you played today, I mean, like you debated today, which was like the most difficult question for you to argue?
Okay, if I'm being 100% honest, it was the last one. Because I just don't know enough about them outside of just watching them play. Like, I know Greg a little bit, but like, I'm not super close with anybody other than I know Makuga and I both have night terrors, so that's fun. But like,
That's fair.
I didn't have as much personal experience to put into those remarks as I did for the other two. And I do think that sometimes firsthand experience, like that empirical, stuff that you can bring where it's an authentic account of something because you know it and you felt it and you were there. Like, I couldn't do that. So I had to just kind of really focus on things outside of me and my perception of them playing. And I know that that's not always the best way to go into a debate. So Ben was making me really claw against his arguments.
Yeah. I was like, and over to you.
Got FCL champ Travis Fishburne.
Man.
Mara, what kind of cookies do you plan on making, Ben?
Oh, okay, hold on. We're actually going to feed the cats and we're going to go on a trip to the kitchen.
This is the important question has been asked.
While we're
So,
going to
at-
the kitchen. Oh,
At any given time,
Ben, you
I
know we
have
still
about
love you, right?
at any given time I have
He's just
about
sitting there like-
200 to 300 cookie dough balls in my freezer. And just today I made up a batch. Hold on, computer, turn on the kitchen lights. I made some of my absolutely perfect dark chocolate sea salt cookies. They are brown butter. So they're made with brown butter. They have some extra special ingredients that make them both cakey, but not cakey. Like it's still very much a cookie. They're perfectly firm on the outside, chewy on the inside. I hand chop some nice dark bar chocolate, some nice flaky sea salt on the top, a couple secret ingredients, proprietary. But yeah, so
I've
Ben
had them
has
before. They're incredible.
done more
they're
than
worth,
enough.
They're worth losing. And,
They've gotten better since you had them. I've tweaked.
Ooh.
If I
I'm
recall,
just over here, like, heavy
correctly,
breathing,
the
like-
first time I got these was
And
maybe
feed that poor cat.
where I lost to
I
Dan.
swear.
I can't remember.
Ben,
So
what's
there-
your favorite dessert treat?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think that there's a couple good answers here. The clearest answer, I think, probably is a perfect chocolate chip cookie. I think if you're eating the best of the best, I think it's the best there is. I do think that chocolate cake, if you get like the right chocolate cake, which by the way is not, that's not like like you can't just give you like, oh, they have chocolate cake at this restaurant. Like probably not. Probably that's a fail. But if you get the right chocolate cake, if you do, then I think maybe that beats chocolate chip cookies. Those are the two I think that vie for the slot.
That is
I
the
know what
incorrect
Ben's
answer.
getting for his
The answer
birthday
is
cake.
Key lime pie, sir. Key lime
Ooh.
Got to give a shout out to hashtag family, Mr. John Lestrino with the super chat. If only
that
Ben
next
knew
page.
how to drift.
Oh,
Shame.
Oh.
too soon. Too soon.
Too soon. Too soon. Ben, is there any particular like obviously like we kind of mentioned during the second question, it was a little bit of an uphill battle. But was there any particular argument that you kind of wished you had time to really touch on, or you kind of feel like you missed specifically looking back?
No, I mean, I think the second one was the toughest one. Like I said, I think that's kind of a busted question to really have to answer. I don't think. I mean, you can answer the other side of it. Obviously, I tried my best to do it, but if we're really talking about ranking, the holistic concept of ranking, the top of the ranking matters, and you can't be at the top of the ranking without titles. So, like, it's just that's just kind of a bum. Like I said, it's kind of a bum question because you have to start to negotiate pieces of the question, like I did, which I guess you can do, but they still are invalidated in the end by the top of the ranking, which is still part of the same point that I'm making. So, I think on that level, the second question is kind of tough. With the first question, it's kind of a weird one because I would obviously never fight for Roca in this, but he's a great choice. That's a tough spot to be. And then also there just aren't that many retired people who have a large personality that haven't come back in some way already. You know, like Levine retired as a player and became a manager already. So like there's a lot of people who have, left playing that became managers already, and they're just in the game now. I think a lot of the best options are those people. So there actually weren't as many options for that first one as I think I would have liked. But I mean, whatever. They were all serviceable questions in the sense that I think all of the debates were good.
I think that second one would have been more interesting if we just talked about player quality and ability, and maybe not like the concept of ranking, because let's be honest, Robert Parker is a better Intergeekdom player than I am. I just happen to have had the opportunities to win the titles. So I think that you could definitely have, like, there could be an argument there for overall, like, best people that play the game.
That's fair.
Yeah.
When you said that, I was like, oh, I know exactly what argument she's going with because I've actually heard it before. And I was like, I know this. And
you're going to shut up now.
We got a little bit of a super chat fight going on in here with some guy named Aj. Said it's going down, Lestrina. Hashtag family. And then Lestrina replied, should I bother studying, AJ? Hashtag 60 days. So apparently they have a Fast and Furious thing coming up.
I don't know how Lestrina's going to lose this. It seems impossible.
Lestrina's not going to lose it. But AJ, if you want to keep sending us money, make choices and you don't look back.
It's the people that have nothing to lose that really go full ham on these situations. If Lestrina loses, let's be honest, we're going to hold this against him until the day he dies. So
can we just introduce Ferris into the mix, since he's also a Fast and the Furious person, just to see the calamity or catastrophe?
He said that he was also a Boondock Saints person, and we whooped him. He did horrible in that match. So
Ferris is a horse movie person.
It's neither here nor there. I just want to say congratulations to both of y'all on a great match. Congrats, Mara. We will pay for Ben to send you that belt.
I can pick it up from him next week. It'll be fine.
Or you can do that. And then we'll just waste it on something else.
There you go.
So, Alex, it was so great to have you back. Thank you for joining us for this.
Great to see you guys. Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Amber, it's always good to see you. And I think that's about it from my shout outs there. That guy, whatever. Fuck off. But I love you, Maxwell. Love all of y'all. If you have any plugs, Alex, let's start with you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @real_AlexMac, and you can find me co-hosting the show Cinema Biased with Drew Grant, aka Video Drew, where we just kind of dive into our personal movie biases and challenge each other to watch a movie that one or both of us have not seen that's really outside of our comfort zones. So this coming Monday, we're going to be chatting about the coming of age, absolutely anxiety inducing Enter the Dollhouse. So fuck that movie. It terrifies me. So,
all right.
Yeah.
drop by.
Maxwell, Amber, what y'all got? Since you're one mind, you can speak together.
Take it
Yeah,
away.
that's fair. So as the Burr part of Ember Productions, I'm Takara Kanashi on all social media. I'm part of the Let's Get Ready team. I'm one of the executive producers, and I host the Gold Standard when there is an FCL season on Tuesdays. I also do LGR reviews when there's something to review. I also, we'll be starting our network, Ember Productions, pretty soon here to do things like build Legos in a fort. I don't know. It's, fun times on the internet. I also mod for Chris Adams and the Cinefanatics and Video Drew and a Fan's View, which would be Vernon. So yeah, lots of things that I do. Your turn.
Maxwell.
You can find me on Twitter at Cinemaxwell, and
Perfect.
in the FCL when season 2 starts.
Also,
How do you follow that?
I don't know if anybody noticed other than Amber, but in the first round, when I put the ticker up, I accidentally put up the one with their fucking socials on it.
Yep, I saw.
Yeah.
It's funny
I
because I
didn't-
saw it and I
Well,
didn't even
because
think
I was like-
anything of it until you said it.
I did not
I yelled,
notice. I did not.
Jake Banner, Jake Banner, Jake Banner. And then I texted him and I was like, take that down right now. And we're like,
Yeah.
Oops.
Whoops.
was really
Before
funny.
we get to Mara and Ben, we did have another super chat from Mr. Oscar Romo. Haven't seen you in a while, bro. Coming out of the woods to say hi. # Team Bateman.
What's up, buddy?
Thanks, Oscar. So we are definitely going to save the champ for last. So Ben, what you got going on?
I was once the champ. I'm doing a bunch of music stuff. I'm kind of back on my feet and getting healthy again, which is great. I got my first full show back this weekend, and I'm getting ready to announce the full summer tour dates that had to get rescheduled from last year, which I'm real excited about. Should have my next song coming out, I think, next month. I'll be announcing that real soon. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of that, and then Ben Bateman Media, all places. TikTok is the thing. I started doing TikTok stuff like 2 months ago. I don't know, 6 weeks ago or something like that. And
the whole.
like really posting a lot. Yeah, not quite that one.
No.
And it's been going really well. I'm trying to get to 10,000 followers. I had like kind of a good video last week that blew up, and it was good. So it's the same handle. So if you like movie talk, check that out. And that's what I'm
Those
doing.
are like 1.5 million views on that one.
It's almost up to 1.5 mil. Yeah, it was lucky. It was lucky.
Nice. And I
went
believe
to
you
go
have
follow you
another
and I already
channel
do.
that you work on too, don't you?
Say what?
You have another channel you work with too, don't you?
I've got a whole bunch of crap. I mean, I've the Action Industries, obviously. I've got
yeah,
my music
that one.
channel. I've got Magic, but it's just too much to talk about. So that's the stuff I'll lead with today.
Everybody check out The Best and the Worst. It's great.
Yes, I do have a show called The Best and the Worst on Action that I love, and we just recorded an episode today that is the best and the worst of Gal Gadot. So that should be fun. It'll be coming out next
Just
week.
waiting for your episode on Meryl Streep and for the top 3 to be just Devil Wears Prada, Devil Wears Prada, Devil Wears Prada.
It's coming at some point. We'll do it. That's a good one. So
Yeah.
Yes. Right
All
here,
right.
guys. Right
best
here.
and the worst.
And-
Best and the
Right
worst.
Yep. And Mara. you got
First of
for
all,
us?
guys, really go check out Ben's music because it's actually good. And I'll admit it, I was concerned the first time. I was like, oh God, do I have to tell him I love him and just not talk about the songs? And then I actually really love it. So please go check out Ben's music because I would be honest with him and say, I love you, I just don't love your music. But I do love it. So please go check that out. Also, if it's within your belief structure and your health, please consider giving the gift of life, donate blood, donate bone marrow, go to bethematch.org. People, especially if you're mixed race, it's really, really hard for people to find matches because they typically only match with people of similar backgrounds. It's easier for typing and stuff. So please just consider it if it's something that you're able to do. Oh, thank you, Jake. That's all I've got.
All right. Hold on. What am I doing here? Okay.
Oh, dear.
We did have
You're
one
doing
more
so
super
well.
chat. Yeah, I'm used to this situation. We did have one more super chat from our boy Danny Cost.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Ben Boss and amazing Mara. So if nobody has anything else, I'd just like to thank everybody who was here watching, everybody who was here, as a part of this. And we don't know when we're going to start this back up again. I am kind of relieved that we got this done and take a little bit of a break. But congrats again, Mara. Ben, you did a hell of a job. And
It's not the last time we're going to see him here. I know it.
Yeah, we'll be seeing y'all.
I hate
And
losing.
Amber, Maxwell, thanks again. Alex, love you, my friend. And I hope y'all have a good night as I go out here and flip off these helicopters. Deuces.
So surprised that Alabama has
Bye,
so many
guys.
helicopters.